Welcome everybody. I'm super happy to be here for this super special Christmas time with Proto Circle UX. It's my second time with those fantastic guys. I'm super happy they invited me again, and I'm happy to be here again to have a chat with you. This time I want to make something a bit different than the last time we spoke together. And I want to talk to you about something that made me think a lot in the past a few years, and I think that plenty of us are sharing the same experiences, and who will start will probably face the same things as well. So let me talk about the design reality. We're going to talk about what our companies and designers expect when they are working together. What are my expectations as a designer joining a company? What are the company's expectation about me or about the design team that is joining the company? Those are things that we are facing every single day, every single time we are changing a job, single time we start a new job, etc., etc. The second part would be how to work better together, because this is what we are trying to do every single time. Because we want to be designers, we want to have impact, we have to take part of the customers, the part of the users, the part of everything, but we need to be part of the company as well. So how can we work better together? Let me start with the expectations. So what a company expects from a designer that is joining the company, particularly if the company never had a designer before, but even if a new designer is starting, many times it happens something like that. So first of all, they expect that you join and after a second you can solve their problem, or you can reply to their doubts. And many times that's not the case, because you have to learn what the company does, how the company works, etc., etc. Then, of course, they want to maintain the status quo. They think that a designer is joining a company and they can continue to work exactly as they were working before. They can continue to treat the idea of creating a new feature and all those kind of things exactly as they did before. But for us designers, this is probably not acceptable. And so then they expect that we are not going to challenge the company culture, because many times, particularly if a company doesn't have a designer before us, they have one kind of culture and we are expecting to put something different in it. And of course, finally, the company expects that their value proposition and their product value proposition are intrinsically clear, and we can understand them without any conscious explanation. We can find and reply to those questions by ourselves. What are the designer's expectations from companies when we are joining a company? I'm sure that everyone else in the world as a designer when joining a company, particularly for the first time, expected to be able to apply what we learned in our school, what we learned from the books, what we learned from the articles, what we learned from other people, from our mentors, etc., etc. And we could apply that as it is. So no adaptation, no challenges on what we think is right, what we think is correct, what we think is the right way to approach a problem, etc., etc. We also think that the company will not resist to changes. They are hiring us, so they are thinking that we are not going to change anything. We are just adding extra values. But we are not like that. And finally, we think that a company is aware of what it means to be a design-driven company. So we are going to put into the company what our extra information and extra points of view are taken into the company, and all the challenges we are going to make, we are thinking that they knows what they will expect. And all of this, of course, will create a first area of friction, what I call the wall. Of course, this is like a metaphor if you want, of course, and all this presentation is about metaphors, but we will have wars because everything is difficult at the beginning. It is difficult to communicate. It is difficult to find the right language to talk each other. It is difficult to agree on things that we communicate in different ways, that And we expect that one name, one topic, etc., is understood exactly as we meant it and we think it. And the opposite likewise is from the other side, the developers, the engineers, maybe also other designers, because they were used to something different. And this, of course, is cause of stress and frustration, because everything is difficult. Everything is a challenge. Every communication, every single time we are trying to talk with someone else, we have to find the right way to tell them what we think, to tell them that we think that there could be another approach. And maybe the company is on the market, has been on the market for years and years and years. They've got a big knowledge of the market. They've got a big knowledge of the product they are, or the service they are managing. And we are going to challenge everything. And we have to learn how their language is, how their product works, etc., and they have to learn how we handle them and our customer handle them, because of course we've got this different point of view that usually is not so known inside the company. Even if your company is very old, it's very well known, many times they actually don't know exactly what their customers think. They didn't do interviews, they didn't do questionnaires, or maybe they did it, but sometimes it's difficult to organize them in the proper way, and the particular UX researcher will help in this area as well. So everything is difficult, and this also takes longer time to deliver, because we have to adapt, to understand, to talk, to go through something that maybe is already known from others and from their perspective. And we have to learn it, and they have to learn how to be in contact with us, etc., So everything is longer. And we also probably unfulfill the expectation at the beginning. Many times we start and the first thing is a failure. The first thing we are trying to do is not working. And we are not fulfilling their expectation, and they are not fulfilling our expectation. And this is absolutely normal. Everything is a long shot. But it's human. We are humans. We all are. And the expectations to have something that align nicely, smoothly is in our nature. And I really like this sentence from Andy Vitale, which is a UX designer in the US. And he said, designers are good at making other people feel uncomfortable because we push the boundaries, but we actually are not good at being uncomfortable. And actually, also the others are not good at being uncomfortable. And this creates fights, war, battles, thinking we are in a trench and we have to sit there, and we are on our position and the others are in their position, and we can't find a way to stay together, to work together, to be understood, to make diplomacy. This is the first step, the second step, and as soon as we are able to manage that, we need to be diplomatic. We need to find a way to communicate. We need to organize that, and we do all together that, the better. And diplomacy is the first step to find new ways to communicate. So the first bit for diplomacy is that we have to agree that time and resources are an investment. So we have to spend time as an investment for the future. We have to spend time together now, so then we don't have to spend time later. We have to spend time now in talking each other, in understanding each other, in understanding different points of view, understand where the weakness point of the different areas and the different departments are, and how to manage them in a way they can grow up, they can develop it, and they will remove them as well. It is important in the diplomacy side that designers, because this is what we are talking about, and are involved in teams' decisions, are involved in teams in general. Because many times at the beginning, I remember the first company I joined as a solo designer, if you want, a designer was seen as a pixel pusher, someone that was managing just the visual side of it, because design, unfortunately, as a name is a bit controversial, just the name. So I was not involved in any team's decision. I just received requests. I need this button, this size, with this color, etc., without asking me anything about my actual knowledge and what I actually could help more. That is not creating a button or the asset for a button or an icon, etc., but it was more about how to create flows, how to analyze things, etc., just at the beginning. So the first step is to be involved in team's decision, at least team discussions, teams communications, etc. And we're going to build a big common language this way, because if we are involved, we are able to build some commonalities. So we all know that with user flow will mean something. And actually, every single company will probably have a different nuance in what user flow is. And we will agree with that. And we will understand, and everyone will understand what user flow, I'm using user flow as an example, mean. And it is important that even if we went from a different company, we should know, we must know that user flow in the previous company meant something, in the new company maybe is a bit different, and we should adapt to it. And we should also teach and mentor about something that is related with design, and being mentored about something that is not related with design, but maybe with engineering, with financials, with marketing, etc. And every single company has got different ways to approach every single different department language. And we have to adapt frameworks and processes. This is the first and most important thing that I learned when I started to manage things. I studied frameworks, I studied processes, I studied ways to approach a problem. Just to make an example as a name, I don't know, design sprint. We are using design sprints, but you can't use a design sprint in the way Google is using it. You have to adapt it to your company, to the people that are working with you, to your team, to the actual members of the team. And maybe this type of framework is not working for your company, and you have to find a different one, and you have to adapt it, etc. And this is super important, and this is time consuming, but this is part of the diplomacy process, and it is also part of the common development that we can have between designers, developers, engineers, product managers, product owners, all the stakeholders you will have in your company. And failing now, so the first time we failed, but it was not accepted. It was a failure. It was something that was on our shoulder. Now that we can make some mistakes, that we can fail sometimes, could be acceptable, actually is acceptable. But the result of that should be a big learn, and we should track it. We should make retrospective on it. We should check and iterate on it and try to be better the next time and find solution for that. We have to try to manage the risk we are taking doing something completely new. If we are not going to apply standard frameworks, I don't know, thinking at the UI, standard ways to manage a button, but doing something that's completely crazy and new and nobody did before, or at least we think that nobody did before. We can accept that we are going to fail, but we have to decide it in advance that it should be, and it would be something that the company would accept as a risk. And then we have also to learn after that maybe the next time we can approach the problem in a different way, etc. JS Pool is one of the guys well known in the design world, and this is one of the sentences about the failure that I heard him many times saying, is one thing is clear from our research: failing is hard. It is very hard, because it's not only failing, is learning from the failure, and learning from something that already hurted you. It is not easy, and analyze that failure is even harder. And this analysis should be a regular practice for us as designers, and for the entire team and large team out of the design world. And if everything is going well, after a war and a lot of diplomacy, we can have also peace. This should be our goal when we join a company, to be in peace with the company. This is what we want, and what, as a human being, we are trying to achieve every single time. We want to be happy. We want to be in a peaceful place. And what happens when it's peaceful? Processes are adapted and are adopted also, and they follow the contextual models, because different projects, different products, different teams, different organizations, etc., requires different processes, and also the development in the time being of the product life requests to change it, because something that was okay 2 years ago maybe is not okay anymore, because things evolved, and we need to adapt. Of course, designers in this case, when it's peaceful, are part of a team, are integrated. Maybe there is a design team, an entire design team, a lot of different design teams, but they are integrated in the product, in the project, in the service development. And there is a continued evolution of everything, of the communication, of the workflow, of the processes, and this is accepted, and this is something that we are doing consciously. We are iterating about frameworks, and we are evaluating them continuously. We are retrospectively challenging them and see what we can evolve and what we can refine and what we can make better. When we were in the diplomacy side, we were doing it sometimes. Now this is something that is part of the culture of the company. We want to do it. Everyone wants to do it, because we feel better, and we feel that we are developing better, to a better place. And again, failure or errors are contemplated and integrated in the improvement process. Again, with the retrospective, with the risk management, and all those kind of things. They are integrated part of our process. Of course, we are trying to not to fail, and we are trying not to make errors. This is what we must attend to, but it could happen, and we have to accept it. And when it happens, we have to analyze it again. Just Brewer said that it is important to point out that working collaboratively can increase the quality of our output, and also the consensus, internal and external, from the company. So the internal team consensus, the external team consensus, and the customer's consensus as well. And this is super important, because if a team is working well, this is really visible outside from the company. Many times, when a company is not working internally, this is visible externally. Of course, this takes prizes with it, and those could be big prizes, small prizes, but they are prizes, and this is something that will enrich us. First of all, we will have a shared culture, a culture that is understood by everyone. Everyone knows what our value propositions are. Everyone knows what our values are. Everyone knows how to communicate with the others. Everyone knows how to work together. Exactly. We are integrated teams. Integrated teams can work better together, are faster to deliver, are more reliable. We've got a lot better communication. We are talking the same language. We are able also to refer to things without naming them, because it's something that is a known knowledge and a shared knowledge. We also have better products because we are working better together. We are listening more all the different departments. And from our side, we are listening also more the customers, the clients, or people that are using our service, etc., etc. And also, as designers, also our internal colleagues, because many times we are servicing them as well. And we all know our goals. We have got common goals because if we share the culture, we share the products, we share also the goals. There are no or less differences in the goals between the different departments, for instance, because they are talking a lot better within each other, and they are also trying to achieve the same goal. So they, of course, marketing will have a different point of view than design, than engineering, etc., but the common goal is still there and is important because it's the common base for everyone. And we've got a lot of more engagement, internal engagement, engagement between the teams and engagement between the people. Many times, those are the companies where you are playing, I don't know, ping pong or tennis table, actually. Sorry, ping pong is, as we Italians talk about it. You have a lot more shared things between people. And this could take also to better revenues, because if you got better products, everyone is happier and have better services, also the revenues will increase probably. So just to wrap up, because I'm talking quite a lot and I know that, some takeaways that I would point out for you. First of all, communication is key. Without communication, without spending a lot of time in try to communicate properly with our peers, with our teammates, with our counterpart in the other teams, etc., we will not achieve any goal, and everything will stay difficult. Everything will stay in the war area. When we can work together, a new company-wide collaborative culture will emerge, and this is visible when teams are working better together and engaging themselves a lot more. And actually, they many times are self-engaging. I need you. I need your help. I need to see what you're doing. I'm asking your feedback. Even if you are not my department, even if you are not a designer, I need you, and vice versa from the other side. I had super amazing conversation with developers about the way they were coding, because it was related with something that I also like, and they were happy to share it, and that creates something. And that was a way to open a communication channel. And in the end, we started to communicate better and to collaborate a lot more. And they invited me to their meetings, even if they were not directly interesting for me. And this opened up a few questions. And this opened up also to the design team to be part of the meetings with the developer team, just to start to review in advance things. And this opened up other opportunities, etc., and everything evolved. Diplomacy and balance are part of the game. Many times we don't want to be balanced. We are biased. We are second guessing. We are pushing for our beliefs and our wishes. And this is absolutely normal. But when in a company, when we are working together with others, we need to be diplomatic. We need to find the right balance between our needs and our department needs, and maybe our customer needs, and also what the company can do and the challenges they have. I mean, I don't know, maybe the engineering can't do something that we think that is easy to do, and we have to find the right balance with it. But if we are not going to ask why it is so difficult, and what can we do instead, it is difficult to find a proper solution also from our side, and we'll be stuck with what we thought at the beginning was the right solution, etc., etc. And it will take time. It is a long process, and many times it is not also easy, and sometimes it's not comfortable. But we can do it, and particularly we can do it together. We are a team. We are team players. Designers must be team players. Designers must know the language of everyone else, and we can do it together. And this is my message also for Christmas: be together. And okay, thank you all. Thank you again to UX Product Circle for having me, and speak to you soon.